Hey, what is going on, everybody? Hopefully I am online now. So, funny story. I was testing things. I really was. And since I was testing things, that meant that I was testing them on Rookbot's channel, not on the main channel, so people wouldn't get pinged, but with like 1,000 emails saying, hey, the stream's online, even though it actually wasn't. Take two! That's what they call me. It was a brilliant plan. It was... Except for the fact that I forgot to turn that off. And so I've been streaming and talking to myself for like the past 20 minutes. And I'm wondering, like, well, where the hell is everybody? Like, Firefanix is in chat, but like, where's everybody else? Ugh, okay. Alright, I think we have this sorted out now. I will delete the other video after this stream. But welcome! Hey, how's it going? My name's London Rook. I am working on an Outlander mod called Outlander. It's for Morrowind. For all of you people who are new out there, if we have any new people. So today, we're going to be working on some major boring shit. But it's going to be fun. There is a kit that we need to work on inside of Vivek. And so I have been replacing this, how do you say, these large ceramic blocks here. Stucco, ceramic, something, whatever, you know, these large blocks. With the more individual pieces like right here. Two reasons for that. One, it doesn't actually fit at the moment. So if you take a look at some of these cantons here along the edges. Dark Fox Danae, thank you so much for the host, guys. You know, they just said like a lot of the seams don't actually match up and stuff. So having smaller pieces, having modular pieces like this is going to help out a lot more with that. And secondly, let me bring out one of these pieces and I'll show you what I mean. There is an issue with the lighting with the larger pieces, which shouldn't surprise anybody. If you... So this is taking exactly the same space, but you'll notice that it's quite a bit darker than the smaller pieces that we have here. Now, why is that? It's because there is a closer density of vertices within this particular area. So each one of these little squares here has vertices that are relatively close together, and that means that lighting can pick up where those vertices are and then project the light onto the mesh. When we have a large portion mesh like this, it means that, and I don't know if I can move this to some place that's a little bit, yeah, okay. When we have a large mesh like this, it means that the distance between those vertices is much greater, and so the amount of detail that you can get into those lights is much smaller. Make sense? Less dense means less detailed. It's a very convoluted way of saying that. So, by placing it in these individual pieces here, it's going to help lighting everywhere. So far, I figured out that there are at least 3 different pieces that I need to add to this kit. So this tiny square is fine. This is like 128 by 128. What we need is 128 by 64 bit, or 64 piece right here. Right, so the one that's like kind of split in half. Looks like we got a little bit of Z fighting there. We need a curved piece here so that it aligns with this particular mesh here. And we need a staircase mesh so that we can get from one level to the next. So that is what we're going to be working on today. Yeah, okay. So, it has just been one adventure after another today. I've been trying my hardest to stay productive and stuff. Today, I really wanted to stream about 6 hours ago. I did, and I had everything set up and I had everything prepared, except for the fact that it probably would have gone over to Rookbot instead of the main channel like it did today. But yeah, I had all of my things ready to go, and then life happened. Like just as soon as I was starting to set up, there was some construction outside of my house. I was like, what the hell is going on? And they've been literally working on that place on the street for 6 hours maybe. I have no idea what the hell they were doing. It was loud. I know that much. So I was like, okay, you know what, whatever. I'll wait until they go home. So that's what I did. And in the interim, I've spent all of that time working on the Tumblr blog. So I haven't actually updated the Tumblr blog, but I've made the CSS and all the style sheets and stuff. I've just made it a lot prettier looking. A lot more professional looking. And I'm really tempted at this point to, and I was talking to Melchior about this, actually having a domain instead of having to be like designingoutlander.tumblr.com. Just have it be like a home base. Have it be a website that has a domain that people can just be like, oh, designingoutlander.com, done. And that's going to be like a central hub to like the Patreon and to everything else. Like, I'd love to get it set up so that if I update it there, then it updates all of the social stuff all at the same time. That would be lovely. No idea if I can actually do that, but you know. Ooh, yeah, it looks really pretty. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look. And it actually works on mobile and everything too. Brilliant. What I like about it is that it's, even though it is still a Tumblr blog, it doesn't actually look like a Tumblr blog. It looks a little bit nicer. So yeah, it's just been online, and it also has like that wonderful little, I forget what they call it, but it's a reactive design. Like the website changes depending on the size of it. The size of the window. So yeah, that took the majority of the day. Ugh. That's not even the worst part of it though. Like the worst part is I had this thing looking exactly the way that I wanted it. Like exactly the way that I wanted it. And then Tumblr deleted my changes. Like it did. So I lost about 3 hours of work this morning, and by the time that happened and I realized what happened and I realized that I couldn't go back to a previous version because I hadn't saved it then, I was like, screw it, and I went to sleep. I just took a nap. Looks really professional. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, now all we need is professional content. Working on it. Working on it. Yeah, my heart goes out to Enclave Killer, actually, because he had it, I think it was Enclave Killer, he had it a little bit worse than I did. Kind of the same situation, but he was working on a report for school. Like some sort of homework thing, and yeah, he lost all of that stuff, so it's just as bad, not worse. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I'm designing a website, I get really obsessive about that kind of stuff. Like, nobody really cares if it's the border is I'm trying to think of a good example. If the text on a header has like 2 different types of shadows instead of just one, right? Nobody really notices that, but I don't know, it's just so easy to get you wrapped up in that. You'll notice that we have like little bits here and there that are like sticking out, so we're going to need to fix that sooner or later. I was saying earlier that it's... should I say this? The object count in the cell is pretty high. It's about 3,000 objects so far. It's 3,300 at the moment. When we put in all of these little bits for the ground, since it's in such a piecemeal fashion, it's probably going to raise it to about 3,500, which is way higher than I usually work. Like, if this was on the outside, forget about it. This is a good way to test like the upper limits of what exactly Morrowind can handle. If it's not perfect, the little things will always annoy you. Yeah, absolutely. Like, over here is fine, I guess. Although I want to lower that down some. I mean, I always kind of laugh at designers who think that they're changing the world because they added a new font or something. But yeah, I can see where that attitude kind of comes from. Like, you get yourself so invested in that kind of stuff, and you can't help but, you know, think that it's really, really important. Come on, there's got to be one here somewhere. I'm looking for one of those half pieces. That's what I get for making something that blends in so well. There we go. But yeah, I don't know. We might migrate over to a Squarespace site. I hear that's actually a really good service, if a little bit overpriced. We might just keep it on Tumblr. I'm leaning towards just getting a domain name and then keeping the rest of the website exactly the same. Because, I mean, I could pick up a domain name for like $15 and then boom, done. Tumblr isn't exactly a bad service. Plus, it has that like integrated reblog and like feature and stuff on there, and there's comments too. So there's a lot of value to it. Plus, if I had another website, that'd just be another thing that I have to update. So if I can consolidate the two, that would be wonderful. But I'm looking into it, right? What about you guys? Do you have a personal website? Do you still do that kind of thing? I know there was a long time ago when having your own website was the thing to do, and then, of course, this was pre-Facebook. Probably be the easiest and the cheapest. Yeah, there isn't, I mean, yeah, it would be cool to have like your own website and stuff, and then build everything from the ground up, but I mean, honestly, I don't really need all that. I really don't. It's fun, but it'd be a distraction more than anything else. There have been instances, even like on stream, where I've worked on like a thing in Outlander and then Outlander has broken. This has happened before. And so I have to roll back to my latest save. Which is just, it's so unpleasant. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we'll get like an urn or something to cover up that last little bit right there. In fact, we probably don't even need to like take care of that because it's just so far away. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to... Yeah. I'm going to create one of those pieces on the quick. Rogowski, dude, how's it going, man? So this is take 2 for us. Been kind of a rocky start. But that's okay. If we wanted it to be easy, like, we wouldn't be doing this. It's supposed to be rewarding, not easy. What you up to, dude? Let's see here. Alright, and now we need to split that in half.
We're watching you, scum.
Played Dark Souls for 9 hours straight. Shoot you? Dude, what? Yeah, that's pretty intense, man. There are some days I can't even stay awake for 9 hours. Alright, so this gets moved to 64 units, I think. Boom, done. Location and rotation. Good and good. Temp, pit floor, 64. There was a time where I named everything absolutely beautifully and everything had its place and... Yeah. So I'll get back to that sooner or later. Sort by dates, temp floor, there we go. So were you doing that on stream or was that just kind of something that you wanted to do for yourself? I'm sorry, I missed it. A friend convinced me to do a Soul level 1 playthrough. It's going really well. Yeah, 9-hour stream. That's awesome. I bet you get to see like a lot of faces as the day goes by. Like, I bet you people come in waves. I was just saying earlier that I was hanging out with somebody who I went to sleep when their stream started. I slept for like 7 or 8 hours, and then when I got up, they were still freaking streaming. I guess it's becoming like a more common thing. Right? No. Okay, so this would be under meshes. Gotcha. And then technically that should just work out of the box. Actually, you know what? Yes, technically it should just work out of the box. All right, let's try that. People came and went. It was fun. Don't want to speak too soon, but you think you could handle a 24-hour stream? Well, the plan for me was I was going to stream a lot earlier today, and then that went out the window. What the hell's going on here? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, there's another piece here. Gotcha. And then this one is probably not shifted correctly, is it? Yeah, these ones are all misaligned up here. How far does that go? Okay, just to that one. I do not know if that is worth correcting or not. I'll tell you what. We'll leave that in there for right now, and then if that becomes a problem later on, deal with it then. What's going on with the project? Looks really cool. Right now, we are working inside of the Hlalu Canton. So this is the very last canton that we're working inside of. As you're looking at it right now, there are a bunch of floors that don't really behave all that well. Right, so here's a pretty good example. This is technically an impassable area. I mean, I suppose you could go ahead and boost your agility up or your jumping ability up a little bit so that you could technically hit these levels here, but it doesn't look very realistic. And so what I'm doing is I'm going through all of these foundations and I'm replacing them. It's a lot of very tedious work, but here's the big reason why. Well, there's two reasons why. One, it looks a lot nicer, right? And it will actually have areas that would realistically be able to walk to and from. And secondly, we have this effect right here. Okay, so, and I'll just do this in brief. You'll notice here that everything is well lit. Everything has a nice fall off from the center point between these two lampposts. Yeah. As soon as we bring this mesh up, which is basically where all the other cantons are, you can see that all of the colors just instantly wash out. By using the smaller stuff, it means that there's more detail for the light to pick up, and that means that conversely we can use fewer lights in the scene at the expense of more objects. Does that make sense? Other than that, the other big thing is I want to probably create some of these foundation pieces that are, instead of completely black, they're going to be like a really dark stonework like this over here. By the way, how's the color on the screen? A while back, like last stream, I think it was a day or two ago, I was working on Trying to get the filters correct. So hopefully we have like a full color saturation, and hopefully things don't look too dark at the moment. I switched from OBS to OBS Studio, and so there are just like a couple little things that still don't make a ton of sense. I mean, they're not 100% perfect. But I'm working through it. That's why your feedback is like so freaking important to me, because I can't tell until after the fact. Like, I have to go back and rewatch the streams and be like, oh, God, he sounds horrible. What is he smoking? But no, I'm pretty psyched about this project. I really am. And I'll tell you why. It's not just about Outlander. It's not. Outlander's a big part of it, but that's not the big crux of it. I have a vague idea of what you said. I was staring at a screen for 9 hours, remember? Yeah, okay, so I'm surprised you could barely remember your name. There is, we're adding in more detail to these areas so that the lighting will go ahead and pick it up better. That is basically what I'm saying. Oh, and basically the only other thing that I talked about was that I updated the website too, so now it's all nice and lovely and pretty looking. The Tumblr, I mean. Now, all I need is some actual content on there. But hey, you can't have everything, right? Rome was not sacked in a day. Visigoths, man. Gotta watch out for them. You gotta watch your back. What was the deal with that big foundation piece not picking up the lighting? Was that why you started using smaller pieces? Well, technically, yes. Okay, so what is the problem? Why doesn't it work correctly? It's because there isn't a lot of detail inside of this thing. So if we were to, plop a block out here and then plop the same thing over here as well. Just humor me for a second. It has to do with density. So this is the flooring that we're putting in right now. And you'll notice that this grid is a lot tighter than this grid over here. This grid basically means that these are vertices. Like wherever there is like a intersection between two different of these lines, that means that there is like a point there. Lighting is determined by when a light source hits one of these points, and then it calculates out sort of a blending between this point and whatever it's connected to. So in this case, it would be the one down here and the one down here, right? Because this is the vertice that's getting lit. When you're dealing with really large pieces that don't have a lot of detail in them, if, for instance, we had like an area that was lit right here specifically, there's no vertices close enough for that area to be detected and then lit up. So, I mean, you can technically reduce the scale on this thing a little bit, but that's only going to go ahead and get you so far. And secondly, since we're using smaller pieces, that means that we can fit it closer to the cantons. So more vertices means the lighting has more to pick up on. Yeah, exactly. The more detail that an object has, the more well lit it can become. Well, I should say the more accurately the light can be displayed on that object. So, I mean, technically, if we really wanted to, we could just go in and add a couple edge loops to these foundation blocks, which is not a bad idea. But we're building the tops of this canton in stages like this because it's a good primer for the rest of the cantons that are inside of Vivec City. So by doing it the hard way one time, we can figure out where the slow parts of the construction of this thing is, and then we can translate that to all the other cantons. We need to polish those up as well, right? So this is a kind of a way for us to go ahead and test and see what absolutely needs to get done and what can be skipped. Right, it's all about efficiency. Just like the Borg. Only without, you know, the creepy assimilation nodules. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. Now that I have a Patreon up, I really want to go ahead and do things that are like more public. And this contest is a really good example of that. Like this would be a great chance to just like offer the community some resources and pieces that they can play with. And considering that the last time that I actually made a public update was in September, I think it's about time that I release some more stuff. Like, it's one of those things that I just kept on putting off and off and off and off, and I was just like, you know what, I'll do it later. I'll take care of it in a little bit. And then that little bit never came. Okay, so I need to have that half piece, don't I? So yeah, it's time that I get off my butt and actually release some stuff. Because I bet you that there's a fair amount of people who just donate because they want more stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say that there's a majority of people out there, but I would imagine that there are some people out there that is their main reason why they want to support the stream. Which, you know, if it is, yeah, I don't mind. Okay, I want to have this technically come back a little bit. And then this come forward. What I'm thinking about doing is, this does not feel like a Great House Canton to me. It simply doesn't. This feels like the Foreign Canton. So I'm thinking about swapping this one and the Foreign Canton, so this would no longer be the Hlalu Canton, this would be the Foreign Canton, and then the Foreign Canton would become the Hlalu Canton, which works pretty well, save for one thing. Let me pull that up. All right, so it'd be the Foreign Quarter Trade Floor. This feels like a location that's worthy of a great house, right? That's the only problem I have with this is that it's got like these circular bits here, right? This is very, very, very circular, relatively speaking, right? And that doesn't feel extremely Hlalu to me, so we might have to tweak it just a tiny bit. But yeah, this doesn't feel like a Foreign Canton. The other one does. I don't know why either, right? Maybe it's just a question of scale. That could technically be it. So here's what I've been thinking. What would happen if we got rid of these hallways here? Like on the wings here. So we'll have like a room or something on this side and then a room over here. But in order to get from one side to the other, did I change stream contrast, darkness, or something? Does it look better or worse? I did change it a little bit. It's got a tiny bit of a filter on there. And that's because when it was streaming, it was looking a little too washed out. So last stream, it was way too dark. Like, I reviewed it and I needed a flashlight to see the damn thing. It was so dark. I needed a traveler's lantern. Just a lot different. Now, this is what it appears on... What you see on your screen, I am betting, looks like what it looks like on my screen. Right? So the colors are a lot more saturated. There's a lot more contrast. It's not as muted. That's what I've been seeing this entire time. I think it's a bit too dark still in your opinion. Well, keep in mind too that we're working in a very dark area. Right, if we go out to, let's go to Malignum. Could be that you're just not used to it. Yeah, let's go ahead and go to Malignum and I'll show you. So that's technically what it would look like on the outside, when it isn't inside of a canton interior. I want to have the cantons to be somewhat on the darker side, so that it's a little bit spooky. I don't know, spooky, dramatic, right? I want to actually set the scene with the lighting. I don't know, you tell me. I think it's at a pretty good contrast at the moment, but could be wrong. Okay, Vivek. Oh, actually, you know what? It was here, wasn't it? There we go. So, something that I'm finding is incredibly annoying. I've been swapping around these cantons left and right. This is like the 7th or 8th time that I've done that. I was like, oh, well, this one would look really great if it was in the, if this was the Redoran Canton. This one would look great if this was the St. Delin Canton, which is fine. That's perfectly fine, save for one problem. Every time that I do that, I have to replace all of the damn doors and the markers on the inside and the outside. This one isn't so bad, because there's only 4 here. Right, that's perfectly manageable. Some of them have like 7 or 8, which means that there's like 16 doors, which means that like, and it takes a while to load up Vivek every single time too, so yeah, not fun. Anyway, I had an idea. What would happen if we got rid of these hallways here on each side? Templar Tribe, dude, welcome to the stream. How's it going, man? So we get rid of those ones on the side, and then we create 2 bridges that go along like this way, so that you're actually literally walking out across this place. So if you'll imagine, if you can imagine anyway, the Silt Strider port would be about right here. Right down here. Actually, technically it would be back here. And then you come up, there's a bridge right here that connects it to the foreign canton, right? And then if you wanted to, you could go ahead and go the long way around, or technically you could just pop in a shortcut, go through the canton, just keep on going straight, and then end up right where the bridge to the Redoran Canton is over here. And I imagine that a lot of people would actually take that shortcut. Conversely, you could do it on the other side too. That's the idea anyway. I don't know, what do you guys think? Well, I'm in a fantastic mood, dude. I have been trying to get... I've been trying to stream for about 6 hours now, and for one reason or another, I just have not been able to. Honest to God, it's not my fault. There has been a series of unfortunate events. Unlikely happenstances. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do for right now. And then if that works, great. If it doesn't, it's great too. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about here is that it's, since we have the towers that are so huge, and actually this is a concern, we would need to raise the bridge up a little bit. Right, so technically it would need to be about here-ish. I don't know. Yeah, scratch that idea. I mean, it's a good idea on paper, but it's going to be too much of a pain in the ass to work around. I can tell. In any other canton, that would work. Not this one, though. I have been considering something else, though. Like putting in a small antechamber on both sides. Like this side and this side. So that when you're walking through, you not only have a scene that's on the left, right, where you can like look out and stuff, but then it's also going to be like shops and stuff on the right side too. You know what? I know why there's so much why the cell count is so freaking high, or the object count. It's because we have other stuff in the cell. I'm such an idiot sometimes. Okay, so what is this? We have how many selected? 1,704. That's brilliant. 1,741. We have basically 1,000 objects that we can place into the cell before it becomes an issue. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Hey, London, you hit a goal on Patreon. Did I really? That is awesome. Which goal did I hit? Let's take a look. Is this the Guar one? Because that would be great. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. I'll stream a blind let's play of Morrowind. That's brilliant too. Look, I don't have the notifications set up, so I am just going to say, whoever you are out there, thank you so much for putting me over the top. That's wonderful. That is brilliant. Oh, it's you, Rogowski. Ah. My heart goes out, man. Thank you so much. You just made my day. What? We got to go ahead and do a let's play of Morrowind now. That's the thing. I'm going to have to set aside some time. I've been wanting to do this for a long freaking time. And you know what's great about this is that I haven't actually played the game yet. I mean, I've played the game a little bit, right? But I've never played the main quest all the way through. I'll freaking give you some money to see you stream TR. I'm excited, man. Okay, so I'll need to get things set up first so that we can start playing, but yeah. Thanks, man. Now that just gives me like even more motivation to get off my butt and to release something out to you guys. Oh, see, there it is. There's the Steam notification. The Patreon stuff. Oh, by the way, Templar, now that I have you here, right, I should have something for you by tomorrow. So, if you're going to be in chat, that's great. If you're not, I'll try and hunt you down later. But I should have that tower for you in the next 24 hours or so. I know, right? Exciting times. Rogowski, let me ask you this. When are you streaming next? Because I would love to go ahead and hang out in your chat. Even if it is just like lurking and stuff. I wasn't able to do it today because I didn't know you were streaming. Do you have like a set schedule now? Okay, you know what? This is kind of dry stuff. Let's go ahead and put in some clutter, like some urns and some lanterns and plants and stuff, because yeah. Well, because it's my stream and I want to do it. That's the best reason of all, right? So my computer is a single monitor display. It's kind of a... I like it, right? But it's not exactly top of the line. And so that's why I don't have like regular notifications and stuff, because like what you see is basically what I have to work with on screen. There's a little bit that's clipped off of the top and the bottom, but not a ton. So I think that I've been giving this some thought. Like if I was to go ahead and get a second monitor, it would need to be like a tiny little thing. And I think I have an idea of what one that I would like to try and use. How should I say this? I wouldn't want to go shopping for like the regular, like the big 27, 28 inch, 32 inch monitors and stuff. It's way too much. For one thing, my computer couldn't handle it, and secondly, I don't have a place on the desk for it. But what I'm thinking about having like a little 7-inch, one of those portable, what do you call them? Like the DVD player things. You know, if you were to go ahead and go on a car trip or something and you had kids in the back and you want to keep them entertained, you would just give them like one of those portable DVD players. I think that would be brilliant. I could set up like something that has like 400 by 600 resolution or something like really, really tiny, and then I could actually have notifications that pop up on screen. Try to start at noon every day. Well, I'll be sure to go ahead and hang out this time around, man. By the way, if anybody is not following Rogowski right now, might want to give him a look. You're doing a playthrough of the Dark Souls, right? From the ground up. You know, that could actually work really well. I mean, I've always wanted to play Dark Souls, and I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, just because of time. So watching a Let's Play is not a bad idea. What kind of budget do I have for a monitor? That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought. See, there's like 7 or 8 things that I need before an actual monitor. It's not really a high priority for me. Like the priority for things in my life goes food, rent, and then everything else. Well, actually, no, technically it would be rent then food. I don't know, probably $60 or something. Here's what I would do. Here is literally what I would do. I would go on Craigslist and I would pick up something that's used. Right? I wouldn't go even to Amazon or eBay or something. Because I bet you that there is somebody out there who bought this thing on a whim, and maybe their kids are no longer around or something. It's just collecting dust in the garage, and they're just they just want it gone. I bet you I could pick one up for like $20. Hey now, hey, that is not fair. Like, anytime that there's a streamer on who visits the chat, I try and give him a shout out. I did that with Danae and Dark Fox and like tons and tons of other people last stream. I need some benches. Need some benches. That's not a bench, but I want it. I'm thinking that maybe this place could use some... Oh, what are they called? Some flower beds. Right, it's a little bit flat looking at the moment. Do we have any flower beds? No, we have ordinators. Not what I need. I'm gonna get to bed. Take it easy, folks. Alright. Have a good one, man. Thanks again. Get some sleep. Alright, so I'm thinking over here, this is where we're gonna put in a workbench. What do you guys think? I'm mulling over some ideas. Maybe we'll do a glass forge. Digging this music. It's pretty good, isn't it? It's by the same guy who did the Fallout 4 soundtrack. So Iron Zool, I think. Zool? One of the two. I want to put a painter somewhere. But what would they be painting? I want to put a painter somewhere. I don't care that I heard it last stream too. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a good location here to, Alright, well, you know what? I'm just gonna stick it here. We might change the painting that's on it, though. What if we put it on a roof? That would make more sense. Like, if we put it on a roof... Yeah, okay, we'll put it over here. And then we'll put a ladder to the roof on here too. And then some braces too. Yeah, that's a good idea. So Greatness, did you ever figure out that sizing issue that you had before? Or were you just asking me because you thought it was a good idea to have in your toolkit? London, did you ever intend to make some new religious paraphernalia for Vivek? You mean like pamphlets and stuff? Or what do you mean exactly? Paraphernalia. When I hear the word paraphernalia, I think of skooma pipes. Tried before I messaged you and gave up. Now you just wait till next time with a marker and ready. Yeah. Sizing is, and for those of you who have not messed with the kit, sizing is incredibly difficult to tell when you're working inside of the construction set. It is just, it's one of those things, man. And so if there is a way where you can judge without having to pop into game, that's just going to save you time. Even if you have it set up so you can pop into game, in and out of game, like really quickly, it's still a massive time sink. And you could say that, oh, well, you can just go ahead and go into here and there you go, that's the proper perspective. And you would think that that would work, but it actually doesn't. For one thing, the lighting is a little bit differently. Works a little bit different, and the camera movements are just a little bit different too. No, like religious icons, like Trilos, things that you could hang on a wall or put around the interiors of the canton to give it that religious flair. Interesting. I thought about adding in some statues. For two reasons. One, because Vivek, that would be a good way to go ahead and fill up some space, and especially for the insides. The insides could handle having something that's relatively high poly. So that is a thing that is like incredibly doable. And secondly, it would be very, very valuable to have new statues inside of the game, because everybody uses statues for like house mods and stuff. Or quest mods or whatever. Like statues are one of those things that you can basically get a ton of mileage off of as a resource. But I hadn't really thought of like any other stuff. I'm open for ideas though. There is a what's it called? In some societies, there is like a personal family totem that you carry around, and I know that Star Wars has done this too. In fact, they did it quite recently. Right, like it's considered a family guardian, I guess, against evil spirits. I'm talking about something that's like about the size of a regular desktop lamp. It's like a little statuette. And I think having a lot of those would be really cool too, like 20 or 30 of them, 30 different styles, and they would not necessarily be shrines. they would act sort of in the same way that shrines do inside of Skyrim, not inside of Morrowind. So you can only activate one of them at a time. You would have the blessing of the ancestor spirits, right? So it wouldn't be the blessing of the gods, it would be the blessings of the ancestor spirits for that particular household. And the effect would be incredibly minor, right? So we're talking about maybe like a 2% increase in gold pickup or something. That would be a cool thing to have inside of the game. It would give you an effect. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't change the overall like nature of the game or anything, but it would give it like a nice little bit of flavor, and it would give a reason to actually explore and pick these things up. So, yeah, I could see doing that at some point. As far as large scale stuff goes, I don't know, man. Yeah, see, the problem with statues, though, is that they take a long time to do. If I was to do one statue, I would want to do like 7, 8, 12 of them. I mean, it's better to do those in bulk. Fleshy Vivek dolls. Sounds like something you could find in the Ancestor tombs. Yeah, that too. I mean, there is a lot of different ways that we could approach this. But I think what Templar is talking about is like large scale stuff. What I'm talking about for the small family shrines are just, I should say totems, because that's what they are. For the small totems, is just more miscellaneous clutter that happen to act kind of like shrines. That's the concept that I have in my head. That's one of the new things that I want to add in, like one of the new systems. It would be, like, compared to like the crafting system and stuff, that would be extremely easy to do. The only problem would be to make it large enough, like start placing these things everywhere in the world, so that it didn't feel weird when you went to, I don't know, Tel Brenora and there's like 30 of them or something, and they're nowhere else in the game, right? You want to go ahead and distribute these out, probably in the leveled lists as well, which is always kind of a tricky thing. Like, so if you were just opening up a chest inside of how do you say, an ancestor tomb, you might go ahead and get like a 2% chance of picking one of these things up. Yeah, for like Necrom, there's these new stuff we made that's all like different memorials for the Bonewalker Smiths. Smithies. I could see there being a lot of potential there, I really do. I gotta say, Necrom is one of my favorite places inside of TR. It's one of those places that feels the most... How should I say this? It feels like there was a lot of time and effort spent in that city to create it. Because there was. Okay, we need more than anything else right now is flower beds. We have this interesting transition here, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but it goes from a very, very deep blue here, like almost a navy and a black, technically. It goes black to blue, then it has this aqua and mint color. We need to have like a green here before it transitions up into this yellow here. Make sense? If we want to have these colors feel comfortable, right? there needs to be a smooth transition from these very bright yellows to these very dark blues. That's why we need to put foliage in. That's why it works so well, by the way. Because it's all part of a curve. Spectrum, it's all part of a spectrum. If we were to do something weird, like have these plants be pink, then it would look cool. Don't get me wrong, it would, but it would be incongruous. And so your eye would just go to that pink part. Here, it just kind of all naturally flows. It still needs to be redone, though. Well, I mean, that's a good question. What needs to be redone in Necrom? There's my flower beds. There you go. Yeah, I don't know about this. I think the ones that I want to use is this one, this one, this one. And maybe, yeah. Don't I have a square one? I know that I have a square one. Alright, I'm just going to place these here for right now. But I know for a fact I have a square one. D-R-C-N-T. Mandorla, do-do-do-do. There we go. The spacing of the buildings properly, yeah. One of these days, I don't know if I actually did this or not. I feel like I went on stream and I suggested some ideas for how Necrom could be improved. Honest to God, it would only take a couple days to do. Like, it's not technically that bad of a city. It's not. It's a very interesting city, and it's got a lot going for it. It's got a couple things going against it. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. I'm gonna have this sort of extend out this way. And then that's going to push you out over here. I think the fountain's the big problem here. Damn, I don't want to get rid of it though. Alistair, I keep telling you that I want to have these fountains in the game. It's a problem of scale, really. Like, these things need to be about a quarter the size that they usually are. Right, so it would be half the size of this. It's a little bit difficult to work around. It's a shame, too, because I absolutely love them. But they're a little bit difficult to find a good place for. Alright, well, tell you what. We're going to ditch this for right now. And here's what I want. I want there to be a courtyard here. I want there to be a street that goes up along this way. And then I want there to be a little alleyway that connects to this part right here. That has like a bunch of junk in the back too. But I don't want to have these two parts connected here, right? So this means that there's going to be a wall here. There might even be a ramp there, but then we'll have a wall that connects on this side. I almost forgot to tell you that your Telvanni Canton is the most Michael Kirkbride thing you've seen someone do inside of the CS ever. And that's really a good thing. Oh, thank you. I know you're not supposed to play favorites, but the Telvanni Canton is kind of my favorite so far. Although this one's growing on me. If for nothing else, then I like the concept of it. I mean, the execution, kind of here or there. It's kind of a pain in the ass to work around. It's kind of a pain to build. But I love the idea. Okay, so there is a section here. Wonder if Michael Kirkbride ever watches those. Probably not. He's probably doing his own thing. Like Morrowind, is that still a thing? Yeah, that's the one with the elves. I have no idea what he would say. I find myself in a very strange situation. Let me explain why. Let me elucidate. I was browsing Reddit. Like, I like Reddit. It's a relatively good website. I mean, I like browsing Reddit. It's what I do in my downtime. Used to be Imager, and then Imager got to be a little... And so now I'm on Reddit. One of the subreddits that I am subscribed to is the Skyrim subreddit. I know, you can feel free to call me a traitor, but you know this. Doesn't he have a Tumblr? He does, in fact. I don't think he's updated it in 2 years, but if anybody can find his Tumblr, feel free to link it in chat. I think he pops up on Reddit every now and then and talks about Morrowind stuff. I believe right now he is working with another game company on some sort of mobile game, I want to say. So he probably isn't at liberty to talk about games all that much. That would be my guess anyway. Anyway, so I was on this Skyrim subreddit, and there was this thread that popped up about this guy who was making a new city, like a new city mod. And it really made me think, right? Because this is somebody who has a fair chunk of it done. Okay, good. That's good to see. But I'm wondering if it was appropriate or not for me to be like, should I give this guy some advice? Especially when that advice would not necessarily be the most supportive thing, right? I can see a couple things that he's doing in my mind that could have been done in a better fashion. And there's a couple things that he needs to be aware of and stuff, and I'm just like, shit. So at the end of it, I kind of chickened out, and I was like, you know what? I just send him a note saying, good luck with your project, and leave it at that. And then, so that's what I did. I mean, he was going ahead and posting something publicly, so maybe he was looking for feedback, but I don't know, man. It's really hard to judge those things. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a couple of these practice mats here. And hopefully that's going to read as like a road or a little pathway or something. And then we have the other archways too. Those wooden archways that we used on the other side of that canton. I'm thinking we could use it again here. I don't know, the biggest mistake that I see people do on any kind of modding project is they tackle something that is way, way, way too big for like a single person to do by themselves. Which is ironic considering that I'm working on Outlander and it's just like, well, trust me on this, guys. You don't want to work on something that's big. And I think Melchior would tell you exactly the same thing. It's like, work on something small and then work your way up. It's not necessarily because you can't do it. It's that if you work on something large, that means that it's going to push other things out of your life. Like it just does. Like passions are selfish. They really are. And so before you like commit yourself to something that's going to take hours and hours and hours and days and months and years off your life, you got to really do like a hard calculus and be like, is this what I really want to do? Is this what I want to be doing for the next 3 years? And if the answer is, oh no, I just want to go ahead and make something that's fun and looks cool, I would say go a little bit smaller. But that's just me. I love how loose the style is. That's so freaking cool. Can we make this bigger? I was going to say that all that stuff looks really Nordic. Kind of looks like he's doing a... Ooh, that's interesting. Is this like a niche? Morrowind has the advantage of not having to worry about voice acting most of the time. So it's a little bit easier to work around. But if you have a city, there's a reason why Solitude is only 80 people, and like a good number of those are guards. It's damn near impossible to get voice actors that are of like really, really high quality that you need, and that also will work for free. Sad but true. I mean, I suppose you could pay them. It's one of those ideas that I'm coming more and more and more around to. Like, I could spend a week building, like, learning how to build, and then building a Twitch bot. Not a Twitch bot, but a Discord bot, right? Or I could just go ahead and spend a little bit of money and have somebody else build it for me. It's like, huh. Well, there's advantages to both here. That being said, I'll probably just build it myself. Hey, does somebody want to check how long I've been streaming? I'd like to go ahead and put in 3 hours today because I know that I was way, way late, and I said that I was going to go ahead and stream for a long time today too, so. 3 hours for me is a long time. But you know, it's not necessarily the amount of hours streamed, it's the consistency of it. Says somebody who doesn't have a schedule. But you know what I'm saying. Streaming every single day. 1 hour, 20 minutes. Okay, so including the like 25 minutes that I was streaming beforehand, I'm streaming about 2 hours now, so. So I would say maybe about another hour and a half, and then we're good. Potentially. We'll see. Okay, I want to put that fountain back in and see where that gets us. No. You're gonna head to bed, didn't sleep much the night before. Alright, man, thanks for hanging out. Have a good night. Everything's looking really good. Yeah, I'm happy with it too. I'll see you tomorrow, man. Go get some rest. Yo, greatness, what are you working on right now? You've been awfully secretive the past couple days. I'm calling you out, man. Is it still like all hush hush secret project, or can you talk about it yet? Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I like to call back to this over here. Maybe just the two, though. Any Star Wars fans in the house right now? Rogue One's coming out in like another week. Actually, technically, it's coming out another 3 days. I've been purposely avoiding like television and commercials and stuff because I don't want to get spoiled. So I know next to nothing about what the story is, other than the fact that it takes place like 40 or 50 years before the last movie. I'm excited. So long as it doesn't suck, that's the important thing. Kind of has me wondering like what I would do with that franchise. I mean, there's like so many different directions that you could take now. And I know it's kind of so Star Wars is an interesting phenomenon, I guess. Interesting universe in the fact that the technology doesn't really advance, right? So, I mean, apart from super weapons, you don't really see a ton of it's like there's some sort of like technological stagnation across the entire galaxy. Like they hit a plateau, and then it was like, okay, this is what we can do with reality, right? This is it. And it makes me wonder, like, is that because of like some intergalactic law saying that you can't go ahead and make your technology greater than this specific like point, right? That sounds like an actual plot point. Because there's like a lot of AIs that are in universe and stuff. Like that's a pretty common thing. I mean, look at C-3PO. Look at all the droids. Like those are AIs. Maybe not very sophisticated ones, but way more sophisticated than the kind that we have, or anything like that we're even attempting to do. So. I don't know, it's kind of an interesting thing. You don't really see it all that much. So what I would love to see is like a story that takes place like 20,000 years before anything else, where maybe the technology wasn't all that advanced, and you got to see like contact between these species for the very first time. I know that's a very like highbrow thing, right? Wouldn't it be interesting to have like Star Wars like see the tales of like the very first Jedis and stuff, and the very first people who discovered the Force and whatnot, where these like religions, hokey religions and stuff came from. I don't know if anybody else would want to see that, but it sounds interesting to me. I don't know, maybe I'm ruminating on it a little too much. I don't know. People are probably turned off by the idea of an origin story. I mean, they're getting a little bit burnt off of all of those origin Marvel movies, too. At least that's what I've been hearing, so. You know, there's a term that's I haven't heard up until like 2016. I hadn't really come across until this year. And then I keep on hearing it like everywhere. And it's when somebody says like a character is a Mary Sue. I mean, I get what they mean. It's a super character, right? Somebody who is like not flawed, and somebody who is worshipped because, well, they're that person. Okay, I get that. I can follow that. What I'm curious about is how come I never heard this term before? Like, is it because there was a character in a television series that came out like a little bit ago that like, oh, okay, well that person is... Or has it just been around forever and it's just not been on my radar? It's just weird, you know? For the longest time, I didn't even know what a Mary Sue was. And it's interesting, too, because, like, not everybody can give you, like, the same definition. It's like pornography, right? You know it when you see it. I don't know if that's going to work or not. So we have a curve here. This is a very curvy part. And then we have these very flat surfaces. You know what? It needs to have yeah, it needs to have like urns and stuff here. That's going to soften that. Technically speaking, we could stop right here, because these places don't necessarily need to be that detailed. You're only going to be catching glimpses of them, but I love the detailing so much that I'm just going to continue doing it. As if this was a real place. I know that's kind of inefficient, but, you know... People have been wanting to see what the insides of the Vivid Cantons really look like for ages. So, let's give them a little bit of love. Reminds me of a time where there was an episode of Voyager where a bunch of the producers and stuff, they're highly disconnected from the work, right? It's just a job to them. That's what a lot of television is. It might even be like a show that like has a huge rabid fan base and everybody's passionate about it, whatever. I bet you that there are some Game of Thrones actors and stuff who don't even care about the series, right? I bet that there's people out there who just see it as a paycheck. And that's fine, right? That's perfectly fine. It's a job. They got in it they're doing it for the money. Or to make money, at least in some capacity. But it's a little bit disheartening when like you're absolutely passionate about something and then like the showrunners of that show don't have that same kind of love for it. But I digress. So there was an episode of Voyager where the producers needed to have like this one shot of Utopia Planitia. Okay, fine, whatever. And on their own time, because they were fans of the show, without getting paid, they decided to make this beautiful rendering of like 12 or 13 different starships, all being in the middle of construction and stuff, above Mars. Just because they loved the idea that they were working on this this was like the one time that Utopia Planitia was ever shown, and so they wanted to go ahead and do it justice, and that is cool. Like when you have people who are like passionate about what they're working on, it doesn't even matter what they're passionate about, just so long as they have that kind of drive, you know? That's infectious to be around. If you're ever on a team where people are doing that, don't leave. That's my advice. Okay, so this is looking kind of boring. We need to spruce it up just a little bit. What can we do here? there is a trapezoidal section here. Yeah, I think it's this one. Ooh, no, but I actually want that piece. I forgot that that was a thing. So we're going to stick that down there. And I wanted this one. Cool. You know what I'm most looking forward to next year? Honest to God. Young Justice Season 3. I just hope they're not going to screw it up. But, you know, it is financed by Netflix, I believe. Right? It's a Netflix original series now. So, like the man said, maybe we're going to get some darker storylines. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, that's cool. I like that. It's a subtle touch, but it works. Okay, that's actually starting to look like a real place. Wonderful. I feel like to really sell the idea that this is a location, we need to narrow down exactly what this guy does for an occupation. And then that miscellaneous clutter will inform the rest of it. That's the working theory anyway. So what does this guy do? If this was the foreign canton, which it's looking like it's going to be, this is on the richest part of the canton. This is like, it's the smallest house on the center part of the foreign canton. Okay, so we're thinking that maybe this guy is a specialist of some sort. There's a lot of foliage on the outside, at least at the moment. Okay, this guy is an alchemist. And then maybe we'll have like a secondary table here and something, maybe an awning or something on the sides too. Wait, is that the way? Let's stop and think about it. Is this the way that we want to go? Because we have alchemy like everywhere else. Maybe we want to make this guy an enchanter or something now, like because of the plants. That is a tricky thought. Well, I know what I want to do over here. I want this over here to be like a workbench. Whoa. And then we'll have this one be a grindstone next to it, and then all of that extra little bits and bobs. And you know what? Let's go ahead and make this platform here all wooden. Just for the hell of it. See how well that works. Hey London, I think it'd be great to make the area something other than alchemy. Great stream. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning against alchemy myself. Do you have any ideas? I am totally open to hear something. Maybe it's some sort of... Well, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of tapped out at the moment. What do you think? Yeah, there we go. That's absolutely what it needed. I think that this corridor in the back here is just a little too small. So if we... Well, Gotta be careful about this. There we go. That's enough space. You know what? We'll put like a pot or something there. Yeah. I mean, we technically can have this curve around, and we might do that just a tiny bit, but I don't want to like have this wooden stuff extend all the way around. Something interesting in the context of the foreign quarter. Well, let's break it down. What's in the foreign quarter? The foreign quarter has like a bunch of, well, Outlanders, a bunch of foreigners. Creatively enough. What would Outlanders want? Well, for one thing, there would be a lot of Imperial sigils, wouldn't there? So let's say that this is actually owned by an Imperial, right? So we'll get rid of the... He's in Vivek City. He's very proud of the fact that he is an Imperial. What kind of, Yeah, what was that banner? Of course. And then we have these banners here that are going to get replaced with the Imperial Seal. The Imperial Crest. Maybe we'll have something that has like a red diamond in the center. Like, not actually a red diamond, but kind of calling back to that. Foreign. Gotcha. When I think of the foreign canton, I think of like a lot of traders and stuff too. Capitali, right? Did I say that right? I am horrible with names, so you're going to have to forgive me if I mispronounced it. This is good. We can put up a retaining wall here, and then we'll put up some stairs against this wall, and then we won't have to create a new piece for that. All right, man. Fair enough. By the way, I want to go ahead and plug something real quick. For those of you who are not regulars here, you might not know that we have a Discord that has a bunch of the people who normally hang out in chat hanging out there off stream. There's a link below in the description if you want to go ahead and follow me there. Not just follow me there, but like hang out with everybody else. I'm just kind of a steward right now. Where did I put those ladders? My God. There we go. I was going a little bit mental there. All right, so the retaining wall is here, and then we'll put up something over there. Is the area strictly a shop? I have no idea. We're kind of like winging it right now. If we come up with a good idea, we're going to use it. That's the only thing that I have set in stone. Come on, Y. X. This feels like it's rotated wrong. Let's zero you out. Alright, so 90 degrees. There we go. Wouldn't be Morrowind if it didn't have like a pain in the ass CS to work with, like rotationally. The center position makes me think of gathering point of some kind of the canton, whether shop stalls or some kind of social area. Okay, so let's say that this is a market on the inside then. Maybe this guy is some sort of herbalist, which means that if that's true, he's probably going to have a greater selection of plants on the outside than most people, right? So we'll keep with the theme of like this greenery here. But if he's an herbalist, that means we want to put like ivy and stuff on there. And then probably some more of the exotic stuff from the Bitter Coast. That's actually a really good idea. So thanks. The market thing, I mean. And if that's true, that means that probably in the center here is going to just be like a giant freaking plant. Maybe not this one. I know that we have a... Yeah, we have some of these things. which is way too big. Okay, let's think this through. There is another piece that we could use. Don't know what it's called, though. Or a nice Imperial statue surrounded by plants. I don't think that there is an Imperial statue, is there? Does anybody know? Apart from Ebonheart, of course, the dragon statue that's inside of Ebonheart, I don't think that there are any. Catholian Games, dude, welcome to the stream. Right now we're trying to figure out this Hlalu / foreign canton thing. I mean, I'm not against the idea. I think it's putting a statue there makes a lot of sense. It really does. It's just I have no idea who we could use other than Vivek himself. But that doesn't make sense if it's like an Imperial thing. I'm gonna go with Herbalist here. That's an interesting concept. And then we might put in some like shops and stuff along the side here. And maybe like some stalls and stuff as the person walks around. Oh, that's a problem, isn't it? Ice cold. I haven't been on Discord much at all lately. Hopefully nobody's been eating each other. It's very bad, I know. Been trying to catch up on like everything else. We updated the website, so that's cool. So now I got that going for us. Oh, and this is funny. I was streaming not to this account for like 25 minutes and nobody was like watching. I was streaming to the goddamn TwitchBots account. There are days. One of the things I'd love to do if we have some time is to, I'd love to have these little boats down here just moving around with people like pushing them. That would work well on two different counts. One, it would provide a little bit of movement to this area, which would make the place feel a little bit more alive. And secondly, since it's moving through water, the ripples behind it would also help sell the idea that we're looking down into water and not just empty space. Just an idea. I know that it's been done before because I actually have a mod installed by Abbott of all people, I think, that does exactly that. The only problem is I don't know like how difficult that was to actually set up, so might be worth asking him. I hear he's been streaming on YouTube. Yeah, Abbott's Gondolier. That'd look cool. Make the area feel more alive, yeah. That's why we're eventually going to put people into this location too. Just walking around and stuff, because that's going to make the place feel so much more real. Okay, so first things first. If we're going to make this into a giant market in the center, number one way to do that, and I don't know why this is, it's just kind of something that happens inside of Morrowind, is we need to put some awnings here. We need to put a lot of them. And so if we're going to be working in that mindset, it's probably a good idea to just pick all of them up. Like all the tiny ones anyway. Abbott is on YouTube streaming. Does great stuff. I wonder why he's not on Twitch. Like, I've seen him on Twitch before. Maybe it's just easier to work on YouTube than it is to be on Twitch for him for some reason. I don't know. Zarek Zahacaron is technically on both, but he streams through Hitbox primarily, I believe, and then that kind of gets filtered down through the other services. Interesting setup. I was hanging out in his stream a couple days ago, and he was talking all about like Aetherius and like high level stuff for Teslor. It was like, oh yeah, and the Zero Stones and Chim and all this other jazz. That's where I'm just like nodding my head and I was like, yeah, sure is an aspect of. Okay, Akatosh, I gotcha. Makes sense. Doesn't make sense. But hey, like he sounds like he knows what the hell he's talking about, so. Not gonna hold it against him. Alright, something screwed up. There we go. That's why I couldn't find them. Kind of a strange question I asked on Nexus. I wanted to lower the quality of your textures to that of vanilla. What program would I use, or what would be the best way to go about that? For the most part, I do. But that's not entirely true. Here's what I would do. If you wanted to go ahead and lower the graphical fidelity of some of the textures on Dramatic Vivek, which I think is what you're talking about, I would use Photoshop. I mean, that's how I built them in the first place. So, let's come over here. There is a tutorial called Actions. Let's start at the beginning. That's probably a good place to start. So we have the textures folder here, which is filled with a lot of stuff. So let's say for some reason that we wanted to reduce the quality of some of the... Oh, here's a good example. Right, some of the seals. You need to have two things. You need to have Photoshop and you need to have the NVIDIA DDS plugin. If you can't afford that, there is also GIMP, which does basically the same thing. But I believe that you also need to download a plugin for GIMP to work as well. Could be wrong on that. I don't use it offhand unless it's to like convert things out of GIMP's proprietary format, but there you go. Texture Optimizer can do them all pretty easily. Oh, Greatness 7 to the rescue here. Let me just continue out by saying that if you own Photoshop, understanding this action panel here, like this thing right here, is probably one of the best things that you can possibly do in regards to like working with a lot of files. Because you can literally set Photoshop up, say, go to this folder, and then it will repeat the same actions to 3,000 images inside of that folder. So if it's reduced the size of that file by half, you can do that. You need to like script it first, and yeah, that sounds like it's very intimidating. It's not, because you're not actually writing it down. It's recording your actions as you're going through it. So long as you do it right the first time, and so long as you know how to troubleshoot where the issues are, it's totally worth the hour or two to go ahead and figure that panel out. It has saved me so many headaches in the past. In fact, that's how I handle screenshots too. See, this is why chat is awesome. Because technically, my solution would work, but it would not be as efficient as Greatness 7's by a long shot. You know, Greatness 7 and I have gone back and forth trying to decide what the hell is Dramatic Vivek being hung up on so much. And I think the consensus that we have between the both of us, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I think that it's just the sheer number of objects that are in those cells. And the fact that they're like right next to each other. So, now that we know that, or now that we suspect that, we're going to do a little bit of testing to see like how much of an improvement that we can go ahead and put in that area. But I would be surprised if there wasn't at least like 5 or 6 frames per second that we could squeeze out of that thing. I mean, you were doing tests in Balmora a while back, and you basically made the entire city into one giant mesh, and the thing ran just fine, so. But I don't want to tackle that until we tackle lighting too, so that's going to be an issue in and of itself. Any news on the enhanced sheathing mod? I was just browsing the forums yesterday and found the thread and was hugely impressed. He is definitely the guy you want to talk to about that. Greatness 7, is there any word on the extended sheathing thing? Okay, we need to have... Surprised it's still possible to find things on the best soft forums these days. You know what's funny? I have a thread for Dramatic Molag Mar on there that I haven't updated in God knows how long. But the hilarious part is that up until quite recently, it was still on constant rotation. Rookbot would like point people over to that thread in chat. I've been working on a Dark Elf Guy's Modding Madness thingy lately, so sheathing is paused. That's a good way to put it. It's paused. We're not... we haven't abandoned the idea. Absolutely not. And in some form or another, it's going to happen. It's just a question of how we want to go ahead and tackle that. That's a fair thing. That's a fair statement to say, right? Like, we haven't given up on it. It's just... the original form that it was going to come in is probably going to change. Besides, you've been working on some other projects too. You've been working on Coda, and you've been working on the NIF exporter / importer. Oh, this is cool and all, but what would happen if we put in a third one? I don't even know how to find my own threads now since the post history got erased. I'm a little bit surprised that Bethesda still kept the forums up in any kind of capacity. I mean, I would have figured that they would have just torn the whole thing down. That's basically what they did with, if you know where to look, you can still find the podcast that Bethesda did, and you can still find the links to every single one of the interviews for the Bethesda employees, like the best soft employees, on the site. But it is a pain in the ass to navigate that. Speaking of which, I probably should download those just for posterity, just so that I can, if I ever want to listen to them in the future, I can. Yeah, believe it or not, there actually is a Bethesda podcast done by the developers around the release of Skyrim. So, I mean, a fair number of the questions are completely irrelevant now. They're asking what are the systems in Skyrim? How does it work? And all that jazz. But then occasionally you find something like a tidbit of information that's oh, that's how they approach that problem. That's interesting. Thanks for help keeping the game alive. Hey, thanks for hanging out, dude. I mean, I'm not the only one keeping the game alive. So long as people are in chat talking, that is at least a step in the right direction. You know, in a lot of ways, I kind of see myself as a goodwill ambassador to this game for modern day gamers, because I didn't grow up with this one. It was a purely happenstance meeting on my part, discovering this game. And so any chance that I get to point people to this game, I like to go ahead and do it. One of these days, I just need to buy 100 or 200 Steam keys and then just hand them out to people. That'd be kind of cool to do on stream. I know Dark Elf Guy has 40 different copies? He has a collection of Morrowinds. Hey, does somebody want to check the time for me real quick? I played this on the original Xbox, but didn't get into it until after Oblivion. So what do you like better, Oblivion or Morrowind, if you don't mind me asking? But it has so much more potential than the other games. I think so. I think the setting of Morrowind is a character in and of itself. It's it's hard to describe. If there was a show about sailing, right? About somebody who was on the ocean or something, and day in and day out, and it was his struggles or her struggles of captaining the ship, or eventually that ship would become a character in and of itself, right? A better example. So, Mars. Mars and the Martian. If you've ever seen that film or read the book, you'll know that the planet, it almost kind of has a life to it, right? I mean, it's a lifeless dead rock and stuff, but it's not just about the astronaut Watney, his struggle to survive and stuff. That's a huge part of it, but it's also about the fact that this place that he's at is actively trying to kill him. Well, maybe indifferently trying to kill him. And that's an interesting concept, and it's like, in the same way that place is trying to kill him, a lot of things in Morrowind try and kill you. We might have to end the stream in just a second here. I think I heard somebody come home. He has about 40 installs. Don't know if he has about 40 copies of the game. Yeah, don't know. If I wrote to Bethesda and was like, hey, I do a stream on this game that you made 20 years ago. Can I have some copies to give out to people? I really wonder what they would say. They'd be like, no. Probably. But they might be cool about it. I mean, they can't be making too much money off of it these days. It's not making Skyrim money. But all Morrowind needs is good writing. Morrowind's lack of voice acting really blows the doors off of what's possible for people writing quests, because the following games and the later Fallout, when you get these modded quests and hear bad acting or bad sound quality or both, or silence with no voice, it creates a disconnect, because the rest of the game it has this consistent voices with the consistent quality, unless modders want to spend money on real actors with good equipment. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I totally do. Voice acting is extremely difficult to come by. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't do it. There's a lot of people who say, it's hard, so why even bother? But you look at a game like Skyrim, and that has voice acting in it. Has pretty good voice acting in it. Especially compared to Oblivion. One of the best mods that I've ever played, and I haven't played through all of it because there's just so much of it, is interesting NPCs. And that is a mod that is centered around, I would say, about 90% voice acting. There's about 10% quests and stuff. So, I mean, yes, it's very difficult to pull off, and yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but you can go ahead and work around it. If your team is large enough, if you sink enough hours into it, it is technically possible to go ahead and pull off a really good mod. It's just way harder. Outlander's going to have something on the order of like 200, 300, 400 NPCs. That are added, and if I had to go ahead and have voice acting for each one of those NPCs, forget about it, man. Especially with a dark elf voice, it's not a very easy voice to do. Like, there's only a couple people out there who can really do it all that well. I prefer Morrowind's quick snippets of voice acting. You know, the interesting thing about Morrowind's voice acting is that since there's only little bits of it here and there, that creates a very interesting opportunity to add in a narrator. Right? Something that's kind of like Bastion's narrator, or the narrator that's inside of Transistor. Like this person who comments on what you're doing throughout the world. Granted, that would cost thousands of dollars to go ahead and do, because you would need to pay you would actually need to pay somebody to, basically they're reading an audiobook, but you could do it. It would never get done if you needed voice actors. If you needed voice actors to consider it being done, I wouldn't say never, right? But it certainly, Outlander would not take the form as it does right now, right? You could not do a one-man project in Skyrim like this and have voice actors. It's just, I mean, there's more than one hurdle there, not least of which is the fact that, like, I don't have just men inside of Morrowind here. There are just as many men as there are women, and I don't know if you can hear this or not, but I'm not a woman. At least not lately. Oh, that's brilliant. Uses a mod that uses a computer voice to read out the journal for you in-game. It's creepy. So does Abbott talk to his chat, or is he kind of like one of those more silent Twitch streamers? He doesn't like to be on microphone. I guess it would be a YouTube streamer. Alright, well, you know what? This is going to take a little bit longer than I thought. So let's see how long it is. Abbott has chat disabled. Okay, so this is coming up at 2 hours and 45 minutes for me because, well, reasons. That's going to be it for me. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I had a blast. Hopefully you guys did too. If you like what you saw here, you want to see a little bit more, you totally can. We have videos on demand up at your leisure. You can go ahead and check those out on Twitch directly. If you want to go ahead and see when the next stream is going to be, or get notifications, you can go ahead and follow me here on Discord, on Steam. We also have a Twitter account, and I think that's it, right? And of course, you can always follow me here on Twitch as well. Other than this, I am going to go ahead and try and upload another video in the next couple days or so. And I'm going to probably have a pack of resources available for you guys in the next 24 hours or so as well. So, lots to look forward to on the horizon. Till then, take it easy, everybody. Have a good one.